So let's move on to the next section of the presentation, which is presenting the highlights of our findings in the analysis. And in the first part of this, we'll talk about the factors that differentiate between all of the build alternatives and the no-build alternative. So, what are the main differences between all the build alternatives and the no-build alternative? First, structural integrity and safety. All of the build alternatives eliminate the existing weight restriction. They improve the interchange geometric deficiencies, they meet the seismic standards, and they provide for a 75-year design life. In terms of traffic flow on Oregon 43, all of the build alternatives provide a free-flow north-south movement on Oregon 43, and they increase vehicle storage on ramps to reduce backups. So the traffic is going to flow better on Oregon 43 than it does now. In terms of transit and freight use, we would reinstate 2 bus routes that have been closed due to the weight limitations on the bridge, and will provide more direct freight routes to and from Sellwood destinations. In terms of bicycle and pedestrian use, all of the build alternatives provide great improvements to safety, mobility, and connections for bicycles and pedestrians. In terms of visual impacts, all of the build alternatives would create a substantial negative visual effect from tree loss, rock face cuts, and retaining walls above the southbound interchange ramps. This is a visualization of Alternative A to give you a feel for what I'm referring to. The lower photo is the existing view from Tacoma at the east end of the bridge looking west. The upper visualization is from the same photo and shows the area where trees will be removed on the west side. That plain area that you see in the visualization is a retaining wall with a rock cut above it. This change would occur on all the build alternatives. It might look a little different from one to the other, but this gives you a feel for what the effect would be. And we would consider this a substantial impact. Obviously, it's much more expensive to rehabilitate or replace the bridge than to implement a no-build alternative. However, this project is unusual in that even the no-build alternative has a substantial cost because of the repair work that would be needed to keep it open during that 20-year period. We'll get into detailed cost breakdowns in other sections of the presentation. Bridge closure is another differentiator. Unlike most no-build alternatives, this would require a 6 to 8 month bridge closure for repair. The build alternative closure period varies from 0 to 42 months. And again, there's more detail on closure periods in later sections of the presentation.